Hello soulmates, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ruby. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this beautiful blue dress. We're going to be starting with the pattern drafting up to the sewing tutorial for this dress. So without wasting much time, let's get started. So this is the style inspiration I'm going to be using to make this beautiful dress. So here is my pattern paper. And for this dress, I'm going to advise you, if you are in a small size, you are to get like 4 yards of fabric, and if you're in a big size, 5 yards will be okay. So right now I'm just drafting out my my vertical measurement, and the first line you see me draw is my armhole line. The second line is my bust point. The third line is my under bust, while the last line is my half length plus my allowance. So now at my armhole line, I'm going to be marking my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So I marked that at my armhole line and at my shoulder line, which is the tip of this pattern paper. And I just drew a straight line to connect the dots together. The next thing I did was to mark her nipple to nipple measurement at the half length line, and her nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches. I divided it by 2, making 3.5 inches. Then I'll be adding half inches to that, which will be 4 inches. That half inches is going to serve as my sewing allowance. So I marked that 4 inches at her half length, her under bust, and her bust point line. Then I just drew a straight line to connect them. Then at the left side of my this line, I marked 1.5 inches, and at the right side I marked half inches. This is going to serve as my dart intake. So I just drew a straight line to connect them together. Then I came down at the bust point by half inches. Then I connected it to the under bust, just like this, you can see on your screen. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is to mark our neckline. So I'm going to be using 3 inches by 3 inches. That is, the depth is 3 inches and the width is going to be 3 inches. And I just connected it in a curvy manner. Then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to be placing my tape at my armhole, and I'll be dividing it by 2, which is 4 inches. Then I'll come in by half inches. Then I'll go up at my bust point line, and I'm going to mark half inches, and I'll just connect it to the half inches I came out by at the armhole line. Then right now I'm just taking my body measurement. So your bust measurement divided by 4 plus your preferred allowance, your preferred sewing allowance, and I'm going to be marking my waist measurement divided by 4. I'm going to be adding my dart intakes, which is 2 inches, and I'm going to be adding my allowance, which is 2 inches. So right now I'm just trying to mark out my allowance. The first line I drew was the original measurement. So now this 2 inches is going to serve as my sewing allowance. So because this dress is an armless, or I'm going to say a halter neckline, so from the armhole line I'm just going to draw a straight line to connect to the neckline, just like this. You can see, just because this dress doesn't have a hand, as you can see from the beginning of the video, I showed you the style inspiration. I showed you what the one I made. It doesn't have a hand. So in order to recreate that, just from the armhole, just draw a straight line to the neckline. Then at that line there, I took my dart, which is half inches at the left hand side and half inches at the right hand side. Then I'm just connecting it to the bust point, just like this. Now this is going to serve as my dart intake for the armhole side. So just do the same thing I'm doing, and you're just going to get a perfect dress. So you know this dress is not going to be having a hand or anything. So this dart is going to make the armhole side or the armpit side sit very properly on your body. So the next thing we're going to do is to take our side. That is very important. So you measure the difference between your bust point and your under bust. Mine was 3 inches, and then I divided into 2, which is 1.5 inches, and then I now draw a straight line from the 1.5 inches to the half inches I came out by at the bust point line. I don't know if you get that. I came out at the bust point line by half inches, then the 1.5 inches I just connected it to that half inches I came out by. So right now I'm just cutting, just watch the way I cut so that you understand and you won't make mistake for yours. But this is very very simple. Very very simple to recreate. You won't even find it any difficult. So just watch how I'm going to cut the side that and watch how I'm going to be using it to cut on the fabric. So now I'm just cutting the side that like I said. Then I'm going to use my masculine tape, or you use your pin if you don't have a masculine tape, and I will just hold it down. So after doing this, just bringing it together for you to see that this side did not lap or is not equal. So I'm going to show you how to make yours equal. So you just cut a piece of paper and just place it to the side that has the bustier. Just place it like this, like the way I'm doing. Then you just use your masculine tape and hold it down so that the paper will not be shifting. Then you just use your marker to just extend the line just like this. You extend it so that it's going to have more length to accommodate the first one, that's the center front. I don't know if you get, just do it like this. Make sure you increase the length. You can do it when you're drafting before you cut, or you can do it after cutting. So as you can see now, I'm just going to still trim it. Just watch, it's very very simple. Right now I just increase that. I'm not even sure I increase it up to half inches. So from that masculine tape upward, I'm not sure it's up to half inches, but at least now it's equal, just as you can see. So that's what you're going to do for yours, because if you don't do it for yours, the center front will be bigger or will be taller than the side front. I hope you understand. So the next thing we're going to be drafting out is the back pattern. So the first thing I'm just doing is I'm marking out 1 inches, which is going to serve as my zip allowance. And hope you saw at the beginning of this video that the back of this dress doesn't have a hand or a neckline. So meaning is going to be starting from her armhole. So I'm moving 8 inches. 8 inches is her armhole line. So instead of moving 8 inches, I'm moving 7.5 inches. That half inches I left is going to serve as my sewing allowance. Then I placed my tape rule, moving 8 inches, and I marked a half length, which is this line you can see. Then the next thing I did is just to take her body measurement. Her bust measurement, I marked it at the tip of that line, and I added my 2 inches of allowance. And for this place right now, I'm marking her waist measurement plus 2 inches of allowance. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our dart. So like I said, for the front part, we took a dart of 4 inches. We're still going to be taking that same dart here. Then at the side of this 4 inches, we're marking half inches, both the right and the left hand side of it. Then I now mark the same 4 inches at the armhole line. Then I just connected the 4 inches in a straight line. Then at that armhole line, I'll be using 0.25 inches at the top. Then I'm connecting the half inches to one of the 0.25, and I'll be connecting the other half inches at the another 0.25. I hope you understand. So now, because of this dart intake we took, we're going to replace that, we're going to replace what we measured, which is 1 inch. So I'm just increasing the allowance I have at the waistline by 1 inches. So this is basically it for the back. Okay, we're going to be tampering with the zip allowance so that our zip is going to sit perfectly when your client wears her dress. So I'll be coming in by half inches, and I'll just be drawing a slanty line, just the way you're seeing. Then after this, I'm going to be remarking my 1 inches for my zip allowance. So that is basically it for the back. So simple, so easy. So the next thing we're just going to do is to cut. Just watch the way I'm cutting, watch what I'm cutting so that you can just do the same for yours. So mind you, I'm not going to be cutting my dart. When I'm sewing, I'm going to be attaching, or I'm going to be um marking my darts, and I'll just sew it directly on the fabric. So that's basically it. That's what I'm going to do. So I labeled my up and down so that I'm going to understand when I'm cutting on my fabric. So the next thing we're going to be cutting is the skirt pattern, which is one of the simplest. So just know the length of the skirt, how long you want the skirt to be, and you will just mark the length of the skirt. So for me, I'm going to be using 17 inches for the length of the skirt. Mind you, this is not a skirt and a top, this is a gown. So from your full length minus your half length, you're going to now get the length from the waist to the length you want your dress to be. I hope you get that. So from my waist to where I want the dress to be for my client, that is 17 inches. So I just marked her. I'm going this starting line for this paper is going to be her waistline. The first line you can see there is her hip line, while the last line is the full length for the dress. So I'm just marking her waist circumference measurement divided by 4, and I'm adding my allowance to that. So I'm going to go to the hip line, and I'm going to mark her hip circumference measurement divided by 4 plus my preferred allowance. Then I'm going to go to my hemline, which is the full length for the dress, and I'm still going to mark my exact hip circumference measurement divided by 4 plus my allowance, because I don't want it to be be tight at the lap side. You know, this is a very short dress, so I want it to be very free. So that's why I marked my exact hip measurement inclusive of the allowance, or including the allowance. So the next thing I did was to cut out my back pattern, and as you can see, I left my zip allowance for the front, and I left this inches for the dart intake. So it's very simple. Basically, it's the same thing with the front. Just make sure you leave your zip allowance, and also for the dart, because there's going to be dart at the back, you leave your darts intake. That's an allowance for the dark intake. I hope you get that for the back. So the next thing I did is just to cut out my um pattern on my fabric. So like I said initially at the beginning of this video, I used 4 yards of crepe material for this project, because the my client is slim and she's tall, so I use 4 yards for it. So make sure you use the same yards if you want it to be as full as this. So like I said, I'm just marking out, or I'm just cutting my pattern on my fabric. So I'm going to do that for all my pattern. So this video is already too long, so I'm going to be dropping another video that is going to be the sewing tutorial for this dress. So please make sure you watch this and just watch the next tutorial I'm going to be dropping. That will be the sewing tutorial for this dress. So thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and press the notification bell to get notified when I post my new video. So thank you very much. See you in my next one. Bye.